Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live as part of our Pharmacy 360 program on movement and exercise. I'm very excited to introduce Orla Hopkins on tonight. She is a fitness coach, motivator, a mom. She's amazing, and she will be full of really good practical advice on how to start exercising, how to build up on it, and how to enjoy it is really a huge part of it. And so Orla is just about to join in. Orla, can you hear me? Just 1 second now. But yeah, tonight you're going to learn all about how to motivate yourself, how to make it simple. And sorry now about this. Maybe Orla, if you can request again, we'll get you in. Oh, here we are. Go live with Orla Hopkins. Should be here any moment. Maybe bear with us, everybody. Any moment. I can see you here, Orla. Accept. Thanks for your patience. As we all know, exercise is hugely important for our health. Um, oh, you're all behind. There she is. You made it.
There's always that moment. You're like, technology.
I know, and it probably was like 1 or 2 minutes, and it felt like about an hour. But anyway, thank you everyone for bearing with us. And yeah, so delighted to welcome you on board as part of our Pharmacy 360 program, which is all about taking a full approach to our health. And we're focusing on movement and exercise
Yeah,
and how it just hugely benefits our health. So,
absolutely.
yeah, I just introduced you. I don't know if you heard, as a fitness coach, a mom, a motivator. Is there anything else you want to add about yourself?
No, I think you nailed it. Yeah, I think, definitely a bit of a jack of all trades at the moment, juggling life. But yeah, I think when you say motivator, that's something that really resonates with me because I feel that we all need that motivation. We were talking
Mhm.
about this the other day and how sometimes people think that when you're motivated, you're always motivated and you're just not. So
No.
I love to be that person that can cheerlead you on, that can just give you that extra pep in your step, that boost, and remind you that you've got it in there. You have it. It's
Yeah.
just to remind yourself and how good you feel when you've accomplished something that you kind of were struggling with.
Yeah, and that's what tonight is really about, like to encourage people to make really, really small
Yeah,
additions to their everyday lives.
exactly.
And life is it's busy. Like we're really talking, like you're a mother of two
Yeah.
kids. Like you were saying the other day how before you had children, you obviously were a personal trainer, a coach, and you kind of were like, why are people
Yeah.
arriving late to class? And you didn't
I had
get it,
no
and now you said you
idea.
do.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a meme the other day and it was like, these coaches in their early 20s, thinking that they can do it all. Yeah, we could
Yeah,
do it all. And I remember, as I said to you that day, that like I could never understand why so many mums and dads didn't take their training seriously.
yeah,
But they couldn't. They were juggling a million other things. And the last thing actually was to prioritize themselves.
yeah,
It was dropping a child training, trying then to make it to a session, had to leave early from the session to go collect the child. And I was thinking, these people, like, what about yourself? And now obviously I totally get that and I understand it. And I feel dreadful forever judging those parents because I am one of them and I have to remember myself. I have to
hmm,
remember to prioritize myself, and it's not easy.
yeah,
And that's why we were talking about how, you know, start small,
yeah,
don't overthink it.
yeah,
My motto is keep it simple, just move.
yeah,
Find something that you enjoy, and that's something that you can fit into your calendar, your schedule. And if it doesn't work, so what? Try something new. Try
yeah.
try, try something different.
Yeah. And like we're talking a bit about like busy parents, but forget like lots of like I don't have children, but I'm
Yeah,
very busy as
flat
well.
out. Yeah,
So like lots of people are very busy. It's a busy society. Like everyone is working hard and
yeah,
trying to fit in the fun stuff as well and go from A
absolutely.
to B to C. And we do live in a world where we want quick fixes and quick, hits.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, how do we get over that kind of hurdle and those barriers and make sure we prioritize exercise because we want to do it. It shouldn't feel like a
yeah.
chore. And I think that's what you're great at doing. So, like to inspire ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's, you said it there, exercise can, for so many, can feel like a chore. And I think I grew up in quite a sporty family, and I never really, I just took it for granted. I never really understood the importance and the benefits. And especially now,
Mhm.
having two younger children, I see the benefits of, obviously, as we spoke to the day, not just the health benefits, obviously it's amazing for our heart, for our bones, our joints, but it's also so good for our mental health,
Yeah.
and the feel good endorphins that it releases. So, I think even just walking, just moving, just making the
Mhm.
conscious decision to move is going to help and not make it a chore. But as you said there, we're busy and we're trying to fit in everything. So why not sometimes make those classes your part of your social scene?
Yeah.
There's phenomenal classes going on around the country now. There's phenomenal challenges. High Rocks has kicked off. And
Yeah.
I think, you know, to sit down, make time, make a schedule, and try and find what you enjoy, but also find some things that maybe your friends enjoy, so you can make it a social scene as well as just a fitness scene.
Yeah. And even like, people have been really good lately for going on long walks at weekends and hiking and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And even there's meetup apps where you can just meet a group of total
absolutely.
strangers and put yourself
Yeah,
out there. And like it is scary to put yourself out there.
yeah,
So it takes a bit of guts and a bit of courage. And you will feel nervous and you'll think, oh, I could just be comfortably at home. But, push yourself and do make that step because like it's so, so good for our mental health, as you said. Like reduces rates of depression and anxiety,
absolutely.
helps build resilience when it comes to managing stress and dealing with stressful situations, even to vent. Like if you pound the pavement, whether you're walking
Yeah,
or running, or
you're getting
like
it out of your
just
system.
yeah,
Yeah,
that pent up energy. I had to do it earlier because I was nervous about tonight.
yeah,
I was like, I need to just move.
something. Yeah,
Like, it's just these little things that we can do for ourselves and kind of try and link it into your, like, that's your self care. And it's so important, if you want to mind the people in your life and people you love and be there for them, you have to look after yourself first and
yourself.
fit your own oxygen mask
Absolutely.
first. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're talking there about mental health. I found fitness again after actually kind of a very difficult time in my life when somebody had passed away, and through grief, I had I'd locked myself away, and I'd forgotten who I was. I'd forgotten what movement did for me. And it was
Hmm.
only when I started moving again did I start to feel freer and, you know, a bit more of myself. And I think that's really important. And I was reading today about, we haven't had sun here in Ireland for the last 10 days. And you can
Yeah.
feel that doom and gloom, you can feel
Yeah.
it.
It's
And
a grey.
oh, it's grey, and it's the last thing you want to do is, as you said there, go out. Like it's much easier to come back from work and curl up on the couch, or if you're on midterm this week, like many people are, it's so easy just to say, "Oh, sure, we'll do a start tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow." But it's just to try and tap into that feeling, just that, oh, I feel great, and even if it's only 10 minutes, just remember that feeling of those endorphins going through your body. And there are days, don't get me wrong, there's so many days that I am the same. I wake up and I'm like, oh God, now I could roll over. But then I remember, okay, I've got to do X, Y, Z. And if I'm doing that, I'm not going to have time later to get in my workout. And I'm going to feel like, I'm not going to say the word,
Yeah. Beat
you know what I'm going to
yourself
feel
up.
like. I'm not going to feel great.
Yeah.
So it's to try and make that kind of the little mind shift
Yeah.
that you can just always remember here, a little section in your brain just to remind you of that feeling,
Yeah.
that really, that feel good feeling. And I think I was only talking to somebody the other day about just that mind shift. And it can
Yeah.
take time, but consistency just becomes a natural progression. So I just think consistency is key.
Yeah. And so I know you talk a lot about exercise
Yeah.
stacking.
Yeah.
Can you explain a bit more about that,
So
please?
I would often kind of just think about, an exercise as like snacking, as you say there. So it's like if you, I know we were talking the other day that an hour a week is actually amazing. The benefits that an hour will give you throughout a week, where some people think, oh my God, we need to do an hour a day.
Hmm.
Amazing. Oh my God, amazing if you've got an hour in your day to dedicate to that. Fantastic. But we don't all have
Hmm.
that. And also sometimes if you're starting, you don't necessarily want to give up an hour of your day. So I
No.
think, if you can get 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, there's half an hour. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And you're stacking that up. And I call it, like, I literally say an exercise snack, and then you're stacking. So it's like bringing it together. For instance, this morning I actually dragged my poor 14-year-old son out of bed because it was midterm, and I yesterday he didn't get up till midday. So I was like, no, let's get up. And I could feel his hormones yesterday were a little bit bleh because he'd
Mm.
no routine. So got
Yeah.
up this morning, got 10 minutes done, a good 10
Yeah.
minutes. And I got another 10 minutes done when I got back in from work before I come on here now. There's
Yeah.
20 minutes of my
Yeah.
day that I didn't think I was going to get done, and I was
Yeah.
picking five exercises, five moves. It's, trying to keep it simple, and then
Yeah.
dragging, if you've someone to drag into it with you, it makes it a little bit more fun and a little
Yeah.
bit more motivating. So if you do have kids off this week for midterm, get them up out of bed.
And you have some of those videos and routines on your Instagram page as
Absolutely.
well, don't you?
Yeah, I leave them up there, and you can go in. There's I don't know how many years. I was only looking back in some of the day, and my Noah, who's 14 now, was only like 7 in some of them. I'm like, oh my God.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I just try to keep it simple, and you know, especially working. I do a lot of working out from home because I'm trying to fit it
Mhm.
in.
Yeah.
So it's normally picking three movements or five movements and just
Yeah.
move, repeat,
And
move.
they say like kind of moderate intensity, so you should be able to do, is it 8 to
8
12
to
reps? And
12.
then,
I normally, yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you're obviously your fit, everyone's fitness level is different. But if you're starting
mhm.
out, like you want to be out of breath,
Yeah.
you don't want to be doing 8 movements or 12 movements and not feeling it. You want to feel it.
Yeah.
You
But if
I
they,
do believe in pushing yourself. I'm very
yeah.
much about listen to your body, but at the same time, don't be too easy on yourself either. You do need to
Yeah,
push
because
yourself.
we can do hard things, and that does build resilience in
Absolutely.
ourselves,
Yeah,
it builds your self-confidence and your ability.
definitely.
Um, but for say people, like lots of people are working from home these days,
Yeah.
and feel like I heard someone, I was on a call earlier, and he said, is sitting the new smoking with regards to health?
Okay.
And it is, we have become quite a
Yeah.
sedentary nation. Well, not just Ireland, but
In general, yeah.
it's very hard to motivate yourself, and I think time can just fly by. But if you could be a bit stricter with yourself, and 10
Yeah.
minutes, like it is so
Yeah.
doable. Like you got up to go make a coffee, what sort of things could you recommend? Like squats
I
or,
mean,
you know,
I always say it is if my neighbors look in our windows, they must think like we are nut jobs, because I am that person that if I have a few minutes, I will lunge across my kitchen. I will stand at my kitchen worktop, do my squats, my side leg raises. Even in work, I will often just stretch, stretch my
yeah,
body if I'm sitting at the in the office for, a couple of hours. But I do think, I know my husband works from home quite a lot, and I do think putting an alarm on your phone, 'cause especially if you're on calls,
yeah,
you can be back to back calls, and before you know it, you could be there for 5 or 6 hours. So I do think it's
yeah,
important to have your own, like your alarm clock, especially working from home. I think, like, well, I don't know about everybody, but I know so my husband, he works through lunch. There is,
mm,
he just kind of stacks the calls. And I said to him recently, put an alarm on the phone and make sure that you have got the half an hour break between your calls, and
yeah,
write it down. So I feel if you write it down and say, okay, Monday I'm going to do my calls from, I don't know, 9 till 1, 1 o'clock is my lunch, whatever. Take that half an hour, either say I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to
mhm,
do 10 minutes. I'm going to do squats, lunges, some press ups. I mean, all body weight. You don't
yeah,
necessarily need weights.
yeah,
Um, Stretching. And I think now we're very lucky with so many online programs and classes
mhm,
that you can, tap into, and it's there in front of us. Everything is at a touch of a button. So
yeah.
it is.
And that can be overwhelming as well when there's so much choice. But do you remember in lockdown, the Joe Wicks seven
Yeah,
minute
yeah,
workouts? They went viral and
yeah,
people were doing them as families, and
absolutely,
it was
yeah,
amazing. But like we all know, exercise is good for us. So why do we find it hard to commit to it and create it as a habit? So I think if we try to find something that we're doing already every day
yeah,
and work, like attach a new habit
to
to
that,
that thing you're already
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
and it can, and as you said, don't overwhelm, 'cause that's the last thing we
yeah,
want to do. Don't say, right, I'm going to do 5K 3 times a week.
exactly,
Like, pull it back and say 10 minutes, which means going outside, power walking for 5 minutes in one
I'm
direction,
back,
turning and coming back.
yeah.
And you probably will be enjoying it so much, the piece of it, or, maybe you won't have more than 10 minutes, but if you can push it, you probably will end up doing longer.
Exactly.
Um,
And I mean, podcasts are so amazing now to listen to, keep you
yeah,
going. Good play and playlists. I'm very much about
sure.
music.
The
Putting
Harry Potter audiobooks, they had
audiobook.
me
That's
going,
it. So I
yeah,
mean, as you say,
yeah,
you go out. You before you know it, you could have done 5K without even realizing if you've got a good
yeah,
podcast or audiobook. And there's also
yeah.
like there's a fabulous I think in Ireland the fitness scene is changing, and there is fabulous boutique gyms opening that aren't so overwhelming. They're a lot more, catered to personal touch. And I
Yeah.
get it. I mean, I think people automatically assume that I'm not nervous walking into a new gym. I get nervous walking into gyms. I get nervous,
Mm.
I might be able to hide it a bit better than others, but I would get nervous in a lot of new environments.
Yeah.
But at the same
Which is
time,
normal.
which
That's
is
like
normal,
we're,
yeah, but it's exciting. So I think
yes.
if we look at joining a new class, or as you say, they're the hikes, the meetups,
Mm.
make it more of an excitement thing, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is going to be something good. Don't
Yeah.
look at it as being, oh God, I've got to go for a hike, or I've got to go to the gym. Look at it as well.
Yeah.
And also, we're privileged. We are privileged. If we
Yeah.
can get up and go for a walk, or we can get up and we can go to the gym, we are so privileged to be able to do that. And I think we
Yeah.
have to remind ourselves, as you say, life gets busy, we get caught up
Yeah.
in everything else. But I think it's really important to remind ourselves how lucky we are to be able to do
Yeah.
things.
And not just say I have to, but I
I
get to.
get
Like I
to.
get to
Yes,
go
I
here.
like
Yeah.
that. I get to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
a
had
really good
to,
way to
like, I
say
had
it.
to do that for myself the other day. Like, for me, like, I go into the pharmacy for a 10-hour day. I have to do my workout in the morning because in the evening, I'm
You're
so
shattered.
tired.
Yeah.
Like, I've been on
You're
my feet all
drained.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I do 10 minutes, and sometimes it could be in my pajamas, just
Yeah.
throw the yoga mat out, follow a video, I'm barely awake, but it just sets me up.
Yeah.
And like some days I'll do 20 minutes or
Yeah.
half an hour, but most days I just aim for 10
10
minutes.
minutes.
And
Yeah.
what happens is it's over, and then you sit there and you do a few more stretches because it felt good and
Felt
it
good. Yeah.
feels good,
Yeah.
you
And that's,
know?
as I said to you, we have to remind ourselves just there, it feels
Yeah,
good. And I feel great
yeah,
after it. And it sets me up.
yeah,
And I mean, most of my workouts, I call them the PJ workout, because a lot of times I do roll out of bed, and
yeah,
it's just easier just to move there and then. I haven't got the time. I'll know I've slept it in, or I literally am looking at the clock going, okay, it's not going to be worth my while getting dressed and getting out. I'm not going to have time. So it is that PJ workout. And sure, who
yeah,
cares? You're moving. And that was like me this morning. I was very much kind of like, oh, maybe I'll just leave it to later. I knew we had
yeah,
this, and I was like, oh, will I fit it in? Won't I? Then I knew I wanted to do something with Noah today because the midterm's going to come and go, and I'm working every day. Got up.
yeah,
Now, as I said, he wasn't happy the first few minutes, but then by the end of it, he stayed there and stretched for another 10 minutes after I got upstairs and showered and went to work. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's also a nice way for me to bond with the boys, because I don't play rugby, I don't play golf. So for me, it's
yeah.
lovely to be able to get up and work out for 10 minutes with them, or go for a quick run.
Yeah. And like to what, like to go walking with someone, when people are walking side by side and we're not face on staring at each other, people often share
Yeah.
things that maybe they're shy
Yeah.
about, or, worried about. And it can be a great kind of bonding,
Bond. Yeah.
whether it's family or
Yeah.
friends, or even half a
Yeah.
stranger on a new meetup group on a hike,
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely. And it's
you know,
also, you mightn't see your friends, but yet if you
yeah,
can make it one night a week to meet for that walk, or one morning, to meet for the walk, it's trying to build it into our lives. And
yeah,
I've met amazing people over the years by going to different gyms, classes,
yeah,
and you just have this special bond, because you're doing something that's fun and enjoyable together. And I've seen my brother now has gotten into, he's training for triathlon and he does high rocks. And he's after creating this beautiful bubble of guys that are coming together and training and sharing. Because he was like,
Mm.
I'm missing that at this stage of my life. And they do this session on a Saturday sessions, and it's just guys, and they come and they work out, they sweat, and they talk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's brilliant,
Yeah.
and I just think more of that. And obviously, 100% we're doing this for all the health benefits, but I
Yeah.
think for those mental health benefits and the social aspect of life being so busy, I think it's
Yeah.
amazing if we can incorporate moving and movement with others. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and for the people that kind of think, oh, I'm not sporty, I don't like, I'm not into sports, or I never did PE
Yeah.
or anything like that. Like dancing is a form of
Yeah,
exercise. You could do it, close the curtains and stick on your favorite tune
absolutely.
and
And
just
just
move.
move.
Like
Yeah.
any sort of
And
movement is
I
better.
mean, I was a gymnast and I danced, but I mean, I couldn't kick a ball. I couldn't throw a ball. And a lot of my friends did team sport, so
Yeah,
I would have always felt, well, I'm not really sporty. Like I can dance and do gymnastics, but growing up, I kind of never would have thought myself as being, extremely sporty, although obviously I
yeah,
was, but it was my mentality that you had to play team sport to be sporty.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're so right. I mean, we forget that, like, just going for a cycle, a walk, a light
yeah,
jog, dancing, like everything that creates movement
yeah,
is sporty, So
yeah.
yeah, you're so right there. And I think talking to a lot of people, they say that, oh, I never played sport, I never did PE. That doesn't matter,
Doesn't
you know.
matter.
And
And it's never too late to
never
start
too
ever.
late.
Like
No.
I went, I'm hoping to have another guest on later in the program, and Dr. Noel McCaffrey, who started Xwell Medical, which are
Yes. Yeah.
exercise classes for people with chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
And I went to a class yesterday, and there was an 86-year-old woman, big smile on her face, like doing her dumbbells, and like it was incredible to see. And she was looking at some of the others going, oh, the older people go over that side of the hall. And she was like on this side of the
Yeah.
hall. Exercise brings joy. Exercise is medicine, like
Yeah.
scientifically
Proven.
proven.
Yeah.
And but any movement is better than
No movement.
nothing.
Yeah. And
Some people get caught up on
steps. Yeah.
steps,
Yeah.
oh, I have to do 10,000 steps per day. Like there are proven heart benefits and like huge reductions in heart cardiac risk with even 3,000 steps
Steps a
a
day.
day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every increase in that has a massive decrease in your risk at chronic illnesses.
So I mean, as you said
So,
there, 3,000 is so doable. So
yeah,
if you haven't got that 10, if you the 10,000 in your head, you can't get it, you're feeling then you failed. But if you're hitting 3,000, you're winning, you know?
yeah. And to celebrate those wins as well, pat
Yeah.
yourself in the back. Say at the start of this week, or for the next week or 10 days, I am going to hit 3,000 steps a day. And at the end, I'm going to celebrate and reward myself with, I don't know, like massage or
Yeah.
something nice, or
Something,
even
yeah.
just like, I don't know, something you enjoy.
To
It can be
reward you.
anything.
Yeah,
Um, you
absolutely.
know,
Half an hour
um,
sitting in the car on my own.
yeah, peace.
Well,
um,
funny you say that because my mother-in-law, she'll kill me. I don't know if she's watching here or not, but my mother-in-law turns 70 in March,
yeah.
and she was championed this week, 750th bike row ski class. She just did.
What?
Yeah. Bike row
No
ski, and she only
way.
started that in her 60s.
Wow.
750th class. Like, isn't that
Wow.
insane? She
Amazing.
turns 70 next week.
Amazing.
And when I first met her, she didn't exercise at all, and I
Yeah.
started walking with her. And
Yeah.
then from walking, she built the confidence to start moving, joined gyms, did classes. And I couldn't
Yeah.
believe Biker Ski had her up on their Instagram this week with her big
Amazing.
sign saying 750 classes. Isn't that unbelievable?
Amazing.
So as you say,
My
it's
parents have
never too
started
late
that
to
as
start.
well.
Yeah.
No, no, never. And like for the person who's working from home, and they're like, right, okay, give me three exercises that I can do 8 reps of
Three
three
times.
times. What would be the kind of ones that you remember? Would be sit to stand, or
Yeah.
what sort of would you
I
recommend?
literally, as you said there, sit to stand. So like you have your chair. I mean, I'm banging my head here off the attic, but I'm literally like a squat. So I literally be up whoop, and down in my chair. Like that's a squat.
Yeah,
So do 8 of them with your chair. Move the chair out of the way. Do another 8. Right. There's 2 reps of 8 of squats. Straight
yeah,
into you can do a wall sit. So just sitting against your wall in the squat position, your back flat against the wall,
yeah,
squeezing through your core. So you're now engaging your core, you're working those quads, holding that. 8 seconds, repeated by 2.
Yeah.
I would definitely do some upper body because you're obviously sitting, you can start to slouch. I would do press ups against the wall. You don't have to do them on
Just
the floor. You
leaning.
can literally do press ups against the wall. You can
Yeah.
do a reverse. So your elbows go into the wall and you squeeze your upper back. So you're squeezing. So you're opening up the chest from sitting down. I do as much as you
Yeah.
try to sit tall, that can happen.
Yeah.
And then I always would add, and I would repeat that 3 times. So there you've
You just
got
froze
literally
there
eight
at the
squats.
end.
Sorry.
You just froze in my, you
Oh,
just froze there, and
uh,
where you said I would always add in a.
oh, a jump squat. They
Oh,
probably froze on purpose. So I would add a little hop in my squat just to get the heart rate up.
yeah.
So
And that's like you're like, woo, I
yeah,
did it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can repeat that. And I know for me, once I start, and as you said the other day, or when you were doing your yoga and your morning stretches, you want to do more. So I feel like there's 8 squats, repeat by 2, 8 press ups against the wall, repeat by 2, 8.
Yeah.
You're literally squeezing those elbows back, and you're really opening up the chest. 2 reps, and then your jump squats and repeat. And there you've got like a little snack workout at the
Yeah.
desk, and put yourself on mute.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn
Yeah,
off the camera.
yeah, exactly.
Um, no, it is, and it's just those little things, and then hopefully you will feel a bit better. You know, you won't be as cold. We're always
Yeah,
cold and you're
that's
sitting down
it.
all day.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
your heart's pumping, and it's just the health benefits are just
yeah,
huge. And we had a couple
yeah.
of questions in from
Okay.
guests. So there's a lot of different jargon online. What's the most straightforward way I can start exercising? This person's
Okay.
asking.
So I just think first find out or decide what you like to do. So I think
Hmm.
if you're somebody who likes to say dance,
Hmm.
just start by finding a nice class in your area, whether it be a salsa or a zumba,
Yeah,
or even like some of the workout classes can be quite aerobically, like with a bit of dance in it. If it's that you don't actually want to go near a gym or around people, walking and looking
yeah,
maybe for a local run club. There's run clubs popping up everywhere and they
yeah,
cater for everybody.
yeah,
But I think the number one thing is you just need to move. So I
yeah,
think you need to have a deep kind of conversation with yourself and be honest with yourself and say, what do I like and what do I not like? Because if
yeah.
you start doing something that you don't like, the reality is you're going to quit.
Yeah,
So
and
I think you've got to be honest with yourself.
it could just be like something as simple as if you get the bus to work, like getting off a
Stop
stop or two
too
earlier,
early. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
parking your car a little bit further away from your
Yeah.
final
Yeah.
destination, or instead of driving to the train station, could you cycle or walk to the train station, and trying to see can you fit it into your thing that you're
Doing.
already
Yeah.
doing, like your
Yeah.
journey you're already doing,
Absolutely. Yeah. We
and
spoke with that the
before
other
you know
day.
it,
We were talking about like walking to the train station instead of driving. And I was saying like it was easier for me to walk because you'd pay for parking. And by the time you got parking, and all of a sudden I was getting 5 kilometers in a day walking there and back, which I
yeah,
would never have
without
even
even,
clocked that in my head.
yeah,
So that was something that I was actually, my mind was blown because I was more like, oh, I have to walk to the station. And then I was like, oh, I'm walking to the station and I'm buzzing by the time I get to the station.
get to walk.
Yeah. Feeling like
Yeah.
getting a sneaky workout in without even realizing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, but it is, and it just gets the blood pumping, and you're not as cold when you arrive to
exactly.
your
Yeah, yeah,
destination.
so
So you're
true.
just like
Yeah.
ready for it a little bit better. Another person is asking, how do I know if I'm doing exercises correctly?
Okay. Yeah. So that is a tough one. If you're doing them yourself at home, I would say record yourself and look back on the videos and maybe try and look at what a trainer is doing in the first place.
Hmm.
Hiring a personal trainer, I know some people think it's expensive, but to start you out, I highly
Yeah,
recommend. There's so many phenomenal trainers around the country, and in every area there is a really good trainer. And I mean, if anyone needs
yeah,
to know names, feel free to reach out to me.
yeah.
Um, I do
It's
think
an
that,
investment in your
yeah,
own health, and it's not just today, but like it's the
yeah,
longevity. It's like we're like the age population, if we're lucky, we are living
longer,
longer,
yeah.
but we want to live well,
No,
not just live. Like we want
and
to
not
be
with
healthy.
injuries. So if you are performing
Exactly.
movements wrong, and then all of a sudden, a year down the line, all of a sudden you're suffering with a really bad lower back because you've been doing something not engaged in your core.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think if you're really made the decision to work out at home, a
Hmm.
I would definitely recommend a trainer to come, or you go visit a trainer maybe 3 times before you take on the program if you're finding that
Yeah.
financially it's too expensive, or B,
Yeah.
record yourself and look back in the videos and see if you can tweak the movements. And again, I am very like open. If anybody ever wants to message me to ask about technique and things like that, feel free. There's never an issue. I just love to make sure that people are doing things correctly and that they're getting the
Brilliant.
benefits out of it.
Yeah, and just a reminder that you do have, like, little workouts on your page
Yeah,
as well that people can
yeah,
do
and
as well.
we're actually doing the events in Cork, Kilkenny, no, Cork, Clarny, and Galway with actually Una will be there for your Best Life Hub. So we will be doing workouts and things there. So I'll be showing and demonstrating, and any questions
Brilliant.
and tips and tricks. So yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant. And there's a lot of talk around women's health and like prevention of osteoporosis and increasing bone health. And we often hear the term like resistance
yeah,
training. Could you just explain a bit like that if
yeah.
for anyone that
So
might not know what it
yeah,
is?
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's at this stage, especially of my own life, we're losing collagen and quite quickly and our bone density. So, but I
Or
mean,
yeah, each
resistance
different.
is anything that you're kind of pushing against. So obviously you can use light weights. I mean, you can pick up weights nowadays in Lidl. You can pick
Yeah,
them up in your, obviously there's, you got your proper Max Sport would sell them and you've got your proper sports stores. But I mean, you can walk into Lidl or Aldi nearly and Tesco nearly 99% of the time, and you will see the rack of from 2 kg, 3 kg, 5 kg. And that is just where you are literally creating a resistance with your
yeah.
body. But that also includes like press ups. You're resisting, you're still using, like, although you're not using actual weights, it's still weight bearing on your body. So it's
Hmm.
just to increase your the use within your body, that you're not just stretching or doing. Unfortunately, I know I do run, but there's a lot of conflict with the likes of running and walking with weight bearing, but I actually
Hmm.
like to mix both because I think we need both. But
I
that's
think we
another
do
story,
need
and
both.
I know people come on and they'll absolutely like,
No, I think I would agree with you that I
yeah,
think both is
I think
important.
it's
And like the
really
studies,
important.
I mean, we never say to don't exercise, but like if you can do both, great. And
Great,
because
yeah.
they do different functions, like some is more anaerobic and, you know,
Yeah. And I know a lot of people think about their joints, and as they get older, they think, oh, we've been told not to run. It's really bad for our knees. But if you are combining both, it's
yeah,
actually going to work for you because you are creating the strength in the muscles around the bones and the joints,
yeah,
opposed to, I get it if someone is just going to pound the pavement 7 days a week and not look after the other side of it. I agree. Yes, you will more than
yeah,
likely have injuries, but that's going to happen if you're hammering weights out 7 days a week. And so I think
yeah,
if you can combine both, it's amazing. But
yeah,
definitely as we get older, we are losing a lot more bone density, and we need to help revive
yeah.
that.
And
And
our muscle mass
decreases
decreases rapidly,
rapidly.
especially for women,
Yeah,
like as
we
our
lose
estrogen declines
20%,
as well.
yeah, by the time we're like in our 30s, which is
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
frightening because we hit our 30s, and I'm now in mid 40s and I can't believe it. And I look back and I can see, as much as I would lift weights now, you can see the difference. So
yeah.
if you're not lifting, it's
Just
it you yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah.
Grab 2 cans of beans out of the cupboard and do a few
Well,
little bicep curls, like,
absolutely. I
you
mean,
know.
I've done this before with water bottles. I've done
Yeah,
workouts with water bottles, with cans of beans, like anything that there's a bit of weight in. And I'm telling you
yeah,
now, you start lifting and doing the movements, you will feel the burn. I mean,
yeah,
you might think you look ridiculous, but they're
yeah,
weights.
yeah,
I used to do squats with my son on my back, when he was smaller. Not now, 14, he's bigger than me. But when he was a lot smaller, I was able to throw him on my back, and yeah, you were adding a weight. It was great.
yeah, yeah. The last question I've got here is, what kind of stretches should I be incorporating into my workout routine?
So I suppose it depends on what exactly the workout you're doing. But I mean, I would recommend, I suppose I would do more like my own body weight stretches, but if you're training quite intensely, you can do partner stretching. But I mean, on a regular day to day, I would concentrate on my hips, my
Mhm.
hamstrings, and my calves, and then obviously again upper body. But if you have a nice I suppose, little routine that you can do. Again, it's about consistency. So if you kind of
Yeah.
think, where have I trained today? What have I worked out today? Starting from head to your toes. And I
Yeah.
mean, like, that's a stretch, you know,
Yeah.
that's a stretch. So again, it's about keeping it simple,
Yeah.
opening up. That's a stretch. Bringing the hands
Mm.
behind. That's a stretch. Opening the chest. So I think working from your head to your toes, or vice versa, toes to your head, and
Yeah.
just stretching and enjoying that stretch and taking your time and
Mm.
taking the deep breath in as you go into the stretch, and as you are stretching, a nice slow deep breath out as you exhale, and you'll
Yeah.
feel the lengthening in your muscles, and it's nice and slow. And again, it's just about consistency. If you can
And it,
incorporate it into 3 days a week or whatever your days you're training.
yeah, I think everyone will know, like you'll feel yourself where you're
Where you're
tight,
tight, yeah,
and then that might be a target area that you spend a
to
little bit
start,
more time
exactly,
doing it.
yeah.
And
It
it's a
is, and
constant,
it's
yeah,
and I think, a lot of times because we're rushing, we kind of feel, oh, I don't need to stretch. But I mean, as you're getting older, and especially if you're sitting in a chair, you're going to feel your hips and your lower back. But it just takes a
yeah,
couple of seconds, to perform each stretch throughout the body. And again, as you said the other day, when you start and you feel it and you
yeah.
actually go, oh, I feel the benefits, it just becomes part of your day to day stretching.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I think that's some really good takeaways for people to kind of go away and have a think about. And yeah, we need to put ourselves first and prioritize
Yeah.
this movement. And remember that any movement is
Any
better than no movement.
movement is
Literally
movement. Yeah,
anything.
absolutely.
What is your go-to on your worst day? You're hormonal, you're wrecked, you're feeling a little bit run down. What is your go-to when you really don't feel like, because everyone as like looks at you and thinks, oh, you're so motivating, you're always so energetic and bubbly,
God.
but nobody's like that all the time.
No, definitely not. Ask my kids. Definitely music. Music is
Yeah,
if I'm feeling, in a rut, or I'm feeling really, really unmotivated, it's definitely music. In a previous life I was a dance teacher. So I put the music on and dance, and I always it would always have to be a bit of J Lo,
really,
bit of R&B, a bit of J Lo, and a
it's your
bit of booty
go-to.
shaking.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, everyone has their thing. Some people go out and they go mad cleaning, or when they're in their rut, they're like the. For
yeah,
me, it's definitely headphones in and a bit of a booty shake, and we get J Lo on.
brilliant, brilliant. And did you hear there's a girl doing coppers the workout at the
She's
moment? There's
brilliant,
classes.
Carla. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a brilliant workout. And
yeah.
actually,
So
I
I guess
did that at Wellfest one year, and it's absolutely brilliant. The
yeah,
endorphins. If you could just
yeah,
bottle that,
yeah.
if you could just bottle
Yeah.
it,
You'd,
yeah,
you'd never not to
yeah.
do it. Like that's like the feeling you get after a good workout. If you could bottle that and take a taste of it
Workout.
before a workout, you never wouldn't
You
work
never
out.
not work out.
Yeah,
Never not work
because it
out.
feels
I know.
so good.
Yeah.
So I hope people that are listening tonight are gonna feel
I
inspired
hope
and maybe
so.
set the alarm 10 to 15 minutes earlier than normal for tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Get up, throw out the mat or just a rug or whatever,
Yeah.
stay in your pajamas and just start
Just
moving the
move. Just
body.
start
Yeah,
moving. Exactly.
yeah.
And
And
again, as I
enjoy it.
said, put the music on. If you haven't got me, if it's because sometimes people say to me, oh, but everyone else is still in bed. Headphones in,
Yeah.
and just move, and like just start. If you're, as you asked there, someone asked, how do they start? Just put on the Joe Wicks from COVID. Put
COVID, yeah,
something on that you can just
yeah,
look back on,
yeah,
and just start 10 minutes, and then add that if you can. If not, get that 10 minutes in
mm,
every day. Those 10 minutes over
mm,
7 days. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
I love the yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. She's got amazing videos and she's got one for every type of mood, like yoga for happy, sad,
God, yeah.
period pain, sciatica,
Everything.
lower back pain,
It's
working from like stiff upper neck and
it's amazing,
shoulders,
isn't it? And that's on a touch of a button.
Yeah.
There, I actually to see here
So,
Jennifer Earl Platties. Jennifer does online classes, and so there's so many people out there from a
yeah,
touch of a button that you can just tap into, and
yeah,
from your home. And if you have the
yeah,
privilege to get out and get to a gym and get to a class, fantastic. But on those
yeah,
days that we can't, there are
yeah,
so many people that you can just tap into, and
yeah.
they're
And
there
just
to
try
help
for
you,
10.
motivate you. Yeah.
And try for the 10 minutes and before you know it you'll be there for 20 and you won't realize it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they say there's never a bad workout. You might go in feeling blah, but you'll always come out feeling amazing.
yeah,
And if, as you say, if we could bottle it and sell it,
Yeah.
we'd be, yeah. I'm up and
It'd be
doing 10
amazing.
minutes now. Good woman, Kira.
Oh, brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much. And
Not at
and
all. Thank
want to
you.
mention as well, you have a clothing brand as well,
We
sportswear, and
do,
New
yes. I
Dimensions.
we set that up nearly 7 years ago now. New Dimensions Active, we're family run, yeah. And our whole ethos is giving you the confidence to get up and move.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a passion
you feel good and
project.
look good.
Oh, I tell you, it's a 100% passion project, and but
Yeah,
this year, incorporating with the brand is a lot more workout events and get up and move events, and I'm so excited. Actually, there's loads coming up over the next couple of months that we're collaborating with lots of other Irish brands and companies, and I'll be there motivating, doing the workouts, back on
yeah,
the stage because I haven't been teaching much the last 2 years because it's been so crazy. But this
yeah,
year, 2025, I made a commitment to myself and to loads of people who've asked me to get back out there and coach and teach. So I'm really excited. This
brilliant.
year is my year to get back. Yeah.
Well done.
So
Well, if anyone's like, yeah, you've got your store on Grafton Street,
no,
which is
we're
incredible. So
in Dundrum
congratulations
Shopping
on that.
Centre. Yeah,
Oh,
we
wow. Okay.
moved to Dundrum Shopping Centre. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
right.
we're in
Okay.
there now. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Great. Well,
it's full on. It's full on. It's busy,
yeah,
but sure, it's great.
yeah. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on
Not
and
at all.
inspiring, hopefully, lots of people to go out there and
Hopefully,
get
yeah.
moving. Yeah,
And also just to say as well, I somebody passed a comment many years ago, and it always stuck with me that they said, "Oh God, you actually make me feel crap about myself because you're always shouting
lovely.
about, moving." That's never, ever, ever my intention
Yeah,
because there's plenty of days that I can't move. My only intention is ever to try and give you the feeling that I get when I move, which took
yeah,
me a while after I was in a very bad place to feel again. So that's the intention. And so nobody out there, I hope nobody feels, oh God, I can't get that 10 minutes. Just try. And if you
yeah,
can't get the 10, get the 5 and just start small and build up.
yeah,
But I think for anybody out there that motivates and that teaches, nobody ever wants to make anybody feel bad about themselves. All we
mm,
want to do is to encourage you and try to inspire you to move and to feel good
and share the
and
enjoyment of it
share the
all,
enjoyment.
really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it. You hit the nail on the head there. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. No, and for anybody that, like, say, has any heart issues or illnesses, I've got an amazing cardiologist coming on
Excellent.
Thursday night for
Brilliant.
another live. Professor Robert Kelly. He's so
That's
brilliant,
brilliant.
and he's all about lifestyle health. And so for anyone that wants to tune in, we'll be talking more about like cardiac related issues and physical activity. So that's on Thursday this week at eight
Brilliant. At
o'clock
eight
as well.
o'clock.
So
Brilliant. Yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant.
So there you go. Thank you so much.
Not at all. Thanks for
And
having me. And hopefully we'll catch up soon. And
yeah.
we might do some movement in Mars. There we go.
There you
We
go.
can get
Yeah,
a class on.
I'm always interested.
Get a break in your 10-hour shift.
Yeah, exactly. All
Thanks
right. Thanks so much,
a million,
Orla.
guys.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
joining
Bye. Bye.
in.